Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at a seemingly innocuous little magic item from the Dungeon Master's Guide. A wand of enemy detection. I've given out a few of these over the years, and I almost always am greeted with less than enthusiastic, "Oh, great, a wand of enemy detection, thanks." But this item can be deceptively useful. So the wand of enemy detection, the wand gives off a pulse and points in the direction of any hostile creatures intent upon the bearer of the device. The creatures can be invisible, ethereal, astral, out of phase, hidden, disguised, or in plain sight. Detection range is 60-foot sphere. The function requires one charge to operate for one turn, and the wand can be recharged. So you're saying, okay, that's fine. What enemy detect? Okay, I detect in the dungeon, and there's a bunch of goblins there. Oh yeah, they're great job. We found the goblins that we all saw. Well, there's a few uses for this wand beyond that. For one, it's kind of a dinosaur to the days where D&D was just genuinely a dungeon crawl, not much of anything else. And in that regard, the wand of enemy detection was really important because you would end up being able to examine, a closed door. Is there somebody behind that door that I'm going to be opposed to, that's going to be intent on harming me? And that brings up a couple of questions. Can I use the detection power through a closed door? And at my table, yes, you can. It was a decision we kicked around for a little while, but I made the decision. If they're going to blow the charge on the wand, and there are monsters on the other side of the door intent on harming them, then yes, I would let the detection work if they thought to do it. But there's a couple of codicils to that. First off, if the monsters are in a situation where they don't know the people are on the other side of the door, the party's been very quiet and they want to surprise the opponent, then the opponent, unless they've previously met, cannot be hostile to them because they don't know they're there. So I've had a couple of arguments at my table about that, but really the wand is sensing the intent of the person toward the wand holder. And that also goes to some of the use of the wand. If there's somebody in the party that has a vendetta against the fighter of the party, and I am the thief of the party, and I use my wand of enemy detection on that particular person, and he's not hostile to me, then he's not my enemy. Therefore, the wand is not going to pick him up as an enemy. Now, if he's an enemy of the entire party, yes. But if he's only intent on righting a wrong against this one particular party member, then no. The wand of enemy detection will not pick him up as an enemy. Unless, of course, the fighter used it. So you have a couple of choices there. If you have 5 people in the party, do you pass the wand around, each using a charge? Or do you trust that the wand will function? Or do you really not care? And it's just a good way to weed out something. I had given a wand of enemy detection to a party a few years ago, and the party was around between 4th and 6th level when I gave the wand. And I was greeted with the usual, "Oh, great, a wand of enemy detection. Wow, that's nice, thank you." And they dutifully wrote down the, how many experience points they got it, because I still award the experience points as per the Dungeon Master's Guide. In fact, let's see what the wand gives. Wand of enemy detection, and it will give, anyone can use it, and it'll give you 2,000 experience points. So the player said, "Okay, great, thank you for the wand of enemy detection that I'll never use." Took his 2,000 experience points, promptly holstered the wand, and went on with playing. Well, I'd given the wand out with this specific thought process in mind, and that was I had a plan down the line to introduce a non-player character to the party that was going to be traveling with them, but this NPC had definite hostile intentions to the party. And I did this on purpose because I wanted to see if the player would think to use the wand to detect this guy when he joined the party. He didn't. So it went on like this for a couple of games, and I kept this guy, he seemed like he was fine and working with the party and everything. And then suddenly he took his moment and he acted the betrayer. So the players had to deal with it. From that point on, they then used the wand every time they met anybody of significance to see if this guy was actively hostile or not. Again, there are limits to the wand. It's got to be hostile against the wielder and such. But it was kind of fun because they were grumbling about how this guy got passed and blah, blah, blah. And I said, "Hey, you had the means all along to have checked this guy out. There's the wand of enemy detection, and nobody used it." Lesson learned. Now they frequently value the wand of enemy detection, and they frequently check significant NPCs that they encounter. So it's just kind of an interesting way. I had hoped that the game would go, that I'd introduce the NPC and they would either immediately or shortly after check him with the wand, and they really didn't. And it ended up, costing them a little bit down the line. They won and prevailed and everything, but still, it would have been much easier had they been able to detect them earlier. And keeping in mind, too, because it's a 60-foot sphere, this is anyone in the area that's actively an enemy of the wand wielder. So, in my example that I gave, had they bothered just pulling out the wand and checking the other side of the door with this individual that was hostile to them but mixed in with the party present, then he would have shown up as an enemy. But they didn't, because nobody really valued the wand and didn't see a lot of purpose in checking beforehand. I assure you that has changed at my table. The wand is now kind of a well-regarded magic item and is frequently used. Now, regarding magic resistance, wands operate at 6th level. That adds 25% to any magic resistance. I do, the rare case that the NPC, if it's a disguised devil or something, the rare cases that it has magic resistance, I actually do give the magic resistance against the detection. And if that's the case, while they're in the area, I'll give one check and one check only at my table. And if the magic resistance holds, then there is no effect. They do not get detected as an enemy. It's not that they have to check every round or anything like that. I give one check per one charge used. So again, it's a good reason to use one of these things more frequently, than once in a blue moon. And they come with anywhere between 81 to 100 charges generally, and that can be pretty good too, because then you can, use your judgment. Now, as far as charges on wands and things like that go, I can do it one of two ways. I can either track it myself, and I'll do that if it's a limited campaign that I'm going to be running. When I say campaign, of course, my Greyhawk campaign is the overarching thing, but I do games underneath that umbrella. And so if it's a limited time game where I'm going to be running the next 10 to 20 games, and it's going to be this particular group of characters, I will track the wands, and I'll keep that in my notes. But once that actual campaign is gone, we tend to kind of mix and match the player characters a little bit. Once that happens, I'll let the players track it. We used to play the old days of finding the command word to activate the wand and going to a sage and consulting the history, or finding a bard that might know the history. And we did all that. But we were also playing 5 to 6 hour games usually through the 90s. We have truncated that in the last 20, 25 years. We play about 3-hour games now. And we're all veterans of those older games. So we've kind of gone, well, there's not a lot of love in spending a lot of time just finding out a command word on a wand. So a lot of times I'll have the command word either on the wand, etched into it, or a scroll found with it will have the command word. And that way it just kind of hand waves the magic, the activation, and that way the players can just get on with gaming. Not everybody sees the game this way, but I play with a very veteran group of players, and it's just the best way to do it. I'm actually the second longest playing player at my table. Craig has actually been playing about a year or two longer than I have. His mom got into D&D in the late 70s and introduced him to it. And I met Craig. He was a neighborhood kid, but I met him through a club we used to belong to. And Craig's about 10 years younger than me, but he's actually been playing D&D a little bit longer than I have. So it's kind of neat. So we have a lot of veterans at our table. I think our newest D&D player at our table, well, that would be either of my sons, Pat or Adam, and they've both been playing since they were little. But consistently in the campaign, Pat would be the latest to join us, and Pat's been playing with us for about a decade. Adam's been playing actually longer than that. Adam's been playing over 15 years. He joined our adult group when he was 9. And after that, I think, wow, I don't know, because my wife has been playing over 40 years. Yeah, pretty much everybody else has been playing around 40 years, starting in the early 80s. So we've got a lot of years of experience at our table, and because of that, we don't bog down in the little details we used to love in the old game, because we're older, we've all done it before, and we're in a bit of a hurry because we only have a 3-hour time slot. So there you have it. That's just a quick look at a wand of enemy detection and a little philosophy behind the wand. The way we handle it at our table. It may not be for everybody, but it is just kind of how we do it. Let me know your thoughts. Do you still make your players find every single magic command word to activate magic items, or do you kind of hand wave it a little bit just to keep the game going? I'm not saying one is better than the other. I miss the old days where we used to scrounge around and try to find the names of, what this sword does or whatever. And I do miss that, but I also don't have nearly as much time as I did when I first started playing. So that's it for today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Please leave some comments, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends. And please take a look at the Patreon and help me continue to grow the channel. I need some help there. I'm eyeballing some new equipment a little bit, make the sound a little bit better and stuff. But I want to buy something decent. So any help you can give me there would be greatly appreciated. But that's all I've got. I want to thank you for your time, and I'll see you next time on page 121.